There's a moment in a meeting when someone criticizes your idea, and instead of defending yourself or shutting down, you feel the heat rising in your chest, you notice it, and you take a breath before you speak. That pause, that tiny space between feeling and reacting, changes everything. On the outside, it looks like composure. On the inside, you just did something most people spend their whole lives avoiding. You felt an uncomfortable emotion and didn't let it control you. Your colleague keeps talking. You're still listening. But something shifted. You didn't explode. You didn't people please. You didn't leave the room feeling small or angry at yourself. You stayed present with what was hard, and you responded instead of reacted. That's not a personality trait you're born with. That's emotional intelligence. And it's not about being calm all the time or never getting triggered. It's about knowing what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and choosing what to do with it. Most people think success comes from working harder, being smarter, or having the right connections. But research shows that emotional intelligence, your ability to navigate your own emotions and understand others, is a better predictor of success in work, relationships, and life than IQ or technical skill. This pattern shows up everywhere, but most people don't see it as a skill they can build. At work, someone gets feedback that feels harsh, and instead of asking a clarifying question, they spiral into self-doubt for the rest of the day. They don't say anything. They just replay the conversation in their head, imagining what they should have said, wondering if they're about to get fired. The feedback might have been useful, but the emotional reaction made it impossible to hear. In relationships, someone's partner says, "You seem distant lately," and instead of pausing to check in with themselves, they get defensive. "I'm fine. You're the one who's always busy." They're not lying. They genuinely don't know they've been distant. They're so disconnected from their own emotional state that they can't even recognize it when someone else points it out. At family gatherings, someone's parent makes a passive-aggressive comment, and instead of naming it or setting a boundary, they smile, stay quiet, and feel resentment building in their chest. Later alone, they're exhausted. They don't know why. On the outside, everything looked fine. On the inside, they spent hours managing emotions they didn't even acknowledge. Most of this starts early. A boy grows up in a house where anger is the only emotion that gets attention. Sadness is weak, fear is shameful. So he learns to turn everything, hurt, disappointment, loneliness, into anger. As an adult, he doesn't know he's sad. He just knows he's pissed off all the time, and people keep telling him to calm down. He thinks they're the problem. He doesn't realize he never learned to name what he actually feels. A girl grows up in a home where her parents are overwhelmed. When she's upset, they say, "Don't cry, you're okay," or "Stop being so sensitive." So she learns that her feelings are too much, that showing emotion pushes people away. As an adult, she's the calm one, the reliable one, the one who never complains. But inside, she's numb. She doesn't feel her own needs until they've been ignored so long that she burns out. She thinks she's just tired. She doesn't realize she's been emotionally unavailable to herself for years. This connects to what psychologists call emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize and influence the emotions of others. It's not about controlling feelings or faking positivity. It's about awareness. It's about knowing what's happening inside you and having the skills to work with it instead of being hijacked by it. People with low emotional intelligence aren't bad or broken. They just never learn the language of their own inner world. And when you can't name what you feel, you can't regulate it. When you can't regulate it, it controls you. The cost of low emotional intelligence shows up in every part of life. At work, someone gets passed over for a promotion, and instead of asking for feedback, they assume it's personal. They shut down. They stop contributing in meetings. They tell themselves they're not valued, and that story becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They don't realize their reaction to disappointment is the real barrier, not their skills. In romantic relationships, someone feels hurt when their partner forgets an important date. Instead of saying, "I felt forgotten and that hurt," they go cold. They punish with silence. The partner doesn't know what's wrong. The tension builds. Days later, it explodes into a fight about something unrelated. Neither person knows they're actually fighting about unspoken hurt from 3 days ago. In a friendships, someone feels jealous when a friend gets a new job or a new relationship. Instead of recognizing the jealousy as information, maybe they want something similar. Maybe they're feeling left behind. They distance themselves. They stop returning calls. They tell themselves the friend has changed. The friendship fades and they don't even know why. Inside, the self-talk is harsh. Why am I like this? Why can't I just let things go? Everyone else seems to handle life better. They don't realize that emotional intelligence isn't something you either have or don't. It's a set of skills you build, and most people were never taught. The why do I keep reacting this way moment happens often. Why do I shut down in conflict? Why do I cry when I'm angry? Why do I feel nothing when I should care? Why do I explode over small things? The answer isn't that you're broken. It's that you're operating with emotional patterns you learned when you were young, and no one ever showed you a different way. But here's the shift. Low emotional intelligence isn't a life sentence. It's a gap in learning, and that gap can be filled. Feeling triggered isn't proof that you're failing. It's information. When you snap at someone, that's not a character flaw. It's a sign that something underneath, stress, fear, unmet needs, wasn't acknowledged. When you avoid conflict, that's not weakness. It's a strategy you learned to stay safe. It worked once. Now it doesn't. The work isn't to eliminate emotions. It's to get curious about them. To start asking, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Instead of, how do I make this go away? Anger might be saying your boundaries were crossed. Anxiety might be saying you're caring too much. Numbness might be saying you've been ignoring yourself for too long. Emotional intelligence isn't about being calm or positive all the time. It's about being awake to what's actually happening inside you and having the tools to respond in ways that align with who you want to be. Everyone struggles with this. High achievers who look like they have it together often have no idea what they're feeling until their body forces them to stop. People who are emotionally expressive might feel everything but have no idea how to regulate it. This is human. The difference is whether you're willing to learn. So how do you actually build emotional intelligence? Here are practical steps. Name what you're feeling in real time. Emotional intelligence starts with awareness, and awareness starts with language. Most people move through their day feeling fine, or stressed, or tired, but those words are too vague to be useful. The practice is to pause multiple times a day and ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Then try to name it with more precision. Not just bad, but disappointed, overwhelmed, resentful, anxious, lonely, or irritated. For example, someone is sitting in traffic and feels their shoulders tense, their jaw clench. They think, I'm stressed. But if they pause and get more specific, they might realize they're not stressed. They're angry that they said yes to something they didn't want to do, and now they're late. That distinction matters. Stress suggests overwhelm. Anger suggests a boundary was crossed. Naming it correctly helps you know what to do next. The difficulty here is that most people were never taught an emotional vocabulary beyond happy, sad, mad. To move through it, keep a short list of feeling words on your phone. When you pause to check in, scan the list. It trains your brain to notice nuance. Over time, naming becomes automatic. Pause between feeling and reacting. This is the core skill of emotional regulation. When something triggers you, a critical comment, a dismissive tone, a forgotten promise, there's a split second before you respond. Most people react automatically. They snap, shut down, or people please. Emotional intelligence is learning to insert a pause into that moment. The practice is simple. When you feel a strong emotion rising, take 3 slow breaths before you speak or act. Just 3. You're not trying to calm down or change the feeling. You're creating space so the feeling doesn't hijack your response. A woman is in a meeting and her idea gets shot down. She feels heat in her chest, her face flush. Her automatic reaction is to either argue defensively or go silent and check out. Instead, she takes 3 breaths. She notices the feeling, embarrassment mixed with anger. Then she responds, I'd like to understand your concerns. Can you say more? She still feels the emotion, but she didn't let it control her. The difficulty is that pausing can feel like weakness, like you're suppressing yourself. To move through it, remind yourself. Pausing isn't suppression, it's choice. You're not avoiding the feeling, you're choosing how to respond to it. Track patterns in a feelings journal. Emotional intelligence grows when you start to see your patterns instead of just reacting to them. The practice is to spend 5 minutes at the end of each day writing down what triggered a strong emotion today, what you felt, what you did, and what you wish you'd done differently. You're not judging yourself. You're gathering data. A man does this for 2 weeks and notices a pattern. Every time his partner asks him to help with something while he's working, he snaps at her. He thought she was nagging, but when he writes it out, he realizes he feels guilty that he's always working, and her request reminds him of that guilt. The snap is a defense against feeling bad about himself. Now that he sees the pattern, he can address the real issue, his guilt and his work-life balance, instead of blaming her. The difficulty is that journaling can feel tedious or like you're overthinking. To move through it, keep it short. 3 sentences, 1 trigger, 1 feeling, 1 response. That's enough to start seeing the patterns. Practice empathy by asking instead of assuming. Emotional intelligence isn't just about your own emotions. It's about understanding others. Most people assume they know why someone did something. He's rude. She doesn't care. They're trying to hurt me. But emotional intelligence is pausing that assumption and getting curious. The practice is to ask a simple question instead of making a story. When someone's tone feels off, instead of thinking, they're mad at me, ask, hey, are you okay? You seem a bit stressed. When someone cancels plans, instead of assuming they don't value you, ask, is everything all right? No pressure, just checking in. A woman notices her colleague has been short with her all week. Her first thought is, I must have done something wrong. But instead of spiraling, she asks, I noticed you've seemed a bit overwhelmed this week. Anything I can help with? The colleague says, oh, sorry, I've just been dealing with a family thing. It's not about you. One question cleared up a week of anxiety. The difficulty is that asking feels vulnerable. What if they are mad at you? To move through it, remember, assuming creates stories. Asking creates clarity. Even if the answer is uncomfortable, it's better than living in your head. Set 1 emotional boundary. This week, emotional intelligence includes knowing your limits and communicating them. Most people either have no boundaries, they say yes to everything and burn out, or rigid walls. They shut people out to avoid feeling anything. The practice is to set 1 small emotional boundary this week. That might mean saying, I need to take a break from this conversation. Can we pick it up later? When you're feeling overwhelmed. Or, I can't take on that project right now, without a long explanation or apology. Or, I'm not available to process this tonight. Can we talk tomorrow? When a friend calls in crisis but you're depleted. A man realizes he always listens to his friend vent for hours, even when he's exhausted. This week he says, I want to be present for you, but I only have 20 minutes right now. Can we schedule a longer call this weekend? His friend says yes. The man feels relief instead of resentment. The difficulty is guilt. Setting boundaries feels selfish. To move through it, remind yourself, boundaries aren't rejection, they're honesty. You're not saying, I don't care. You're saying, I care about both of us, and I need to take care of myself to show up well. Sit with uncomfortable emotions for 5 minutes. Most people avoid uncomfortable emotions. They distract, numb, work, scroll, drink, or stay busy. Emotional intelligence is learning to sit with discomfort without needing to fix it immediately. The practice is simple. When you feel something uncomfortable, sadness, anxiety, loneliness, shame, set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. Feel where the emotion lives in your body. Don't try to change it. Just notice it. Breathe with it. A woman feels a wave of sadness on a Sunday evening. Her instinct is to turn on the TV or call a friend. Instead, she sits on her couch, closes her eyes and feels it. It's in her chest. It's heavy. She breathes. After 5 minutes, the sadness is still there, but it's not overwhelming. She realizes she's lonely, and that's okay. She can feel lonely and still be okay. The difficulty is that sitting with emotion can feel like drowning. To move through it, remind yourself, 5 minutes won't kill you, and you can stop if it's too much. You're building tolerance, not torturing yourself. Ask for feedback from someone you trust. Most people have blind spots about their emotional patterns. You can't see how you come across when you're defensive, or how you shut down in conflict, or how your tone changes when you're stressed. The practice is to ask someone you trust, a partner, a close friend, a mentor. How do I show up emotionally in difficult moments? What do you notice that I might not see? Then listen without defending. A man asks his partner, "When we argue, what do I do that makes it harder?" She says, "You go really quiet and I can't tell what you're thinking. It feels like you've left the room even though you're still there." He didn't know he did that. Now he does. He can work on staying verbally present even when he's overwhelmed. The difficulty is that feedback can sting. To move through it, thank the person. You don't have to agree or fix it immediately. Just say, "Thank you for telling me. I'll think about that." Then sit with it. The fact that it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's wrong. Over time, life doesn't become easy, but it becomes clearer. You start to notice when you're reacting from an old wound instead of the present moment. You catch yourself mid-snap and say, "Sorry, that came out wrong. What I meant was..." You have hard conversations without shutting down or exploding. You set boundaries without guilt. You ask for what you need without apologizing. Relationships change. Some people don't like the new version of you, the one who doesn't overfunction, who doesn't smooth everything over, who says no sometimes. Those relationships might fade, and that's okay. Other relationships deepen. People feel safer with you because you're honest. You stop performing. You stop pretending you're fine when you're not. You stop expecting others to read your mind. At work, you handle conflict better. You don't take criticism as a personal attack. You ask for feedback. You speak up when something's wrong. You lead with more empathy because you understand that everyone's carrying something. Internally, the harsh voice gets quieter. You still have bad days, you still get triggered, but you don't spiral the same way. You recognize the feeling, name it, and choose how to respond. You forgive yourself faster. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be awake, and that makes all the difference. Return to that moment in the meeting. Someone criticizes your idea. Before, you might have shut down, gone silent, replayed the interaction for hours. Now you feel the heat rising in your chest. You notice it. You take a breath. You stay present. You ask a question. You engage. Later, you might feel a bit rattled, but you don't spiral. You recognize that the criticism touched an old fear, that you're not good enough, and you talk to that fear instead of letting it run your life. Emotional intelligence isn't about never feeling bad. It's about knowing what you feel, why you feel it, and what to do with it. It's about responding instead of reacting. It's about being awake to your inner world so it doesn't control you from the shadows. This is lifelong work. There's no finish line. But every time you pause, every time you name a feeling, every time you set a boundary or sit with discomfort, you're building the skill. And that skill changes everything. How you work, how you love, how you show up in the world, and how you feel about yourself. Thank you for being here and staying with this all the way through. If this resonated, consider subscribing for more videos on psychology, emotional growth, and self-awareness. And I'd love to hear from you. Which part of emotional intelligence feels hardest or most needed for you right now? Share in the comments if you feel comfortable.